Say it's time to fight General Skywalker. I need something fresh, something spicy, something that's gonna get me a high banner count so I can win. Old Ben, old news. 3PO? 3P no. CLS? See you later. With the power of theory crafting and the testing help of a Vandor Chewbacca salesman, I found a great way to bring a Relic 7 General Skywalker's damage output to a standstill, setting up the potential for some of the best banner scoring against Skywalker to date. So what did this theory crafting result in? Maybe I should let the gameplay talk. The concept I built the team around turns Bossk into a protection regenerating tank who can't be critically hit. The end result is borderline impossible for the AI to kill unless you give them a chance. There's a multi-layer approach to achieving this goal, and they all blend together seamlessly to complement each other. First off, Bossk. His leadership grants protection regen whenever enemies are debuffed or resist those debuffs. The leadership does not specify that the debuffs have to be created by bounty hunters, so he's the lone contractor for this mission. This protection regen helps ensure that he stays topped off against General Skywalker's aggressive counterattacking, so that his HP doesn't start getting reduced. Supporting him in this power tank role is, of course, Wat. Wat gives Bossk his permanent taunt, which is bolstered by the whopping 50% extra protection that Bossk receives from his leadership. Bossk gains 50% extra defense while he's taunting, and an extra 100% granted while he's full health, so his final armor value skyrockets to a comedic level. Wat's assists help remove turn meter as well, and the debuffs it apply also help to regenerate Bossk. We also bring Wat because of his strong synergy with Vandor Chewbacca, which might come as a surprise to some of you. This isn't a situation where Vandor can be expected to revive units. General Skywalker prevents characters from being revived at all. Instead, we're bringing Vandor for two key purposes. First, while Vandor Chewie is buffed, the enemy team does 25% less damage. Second, Vandor Chewie's protection regen capability doesn't care about whether you're light side or dark side, giving Bossk a seemingly endless supply of vitality. On top of all of this, we have Chewie providing guard. I can't stress enough how much of a game changer this is for enabling Bossk to take all of General Skywalker's tantrums to the face. Han rounds out the team with his excellent pairing with Chewie, his overwhelming damage with Wat's gear piece, and his ability to shut down Rex at the start of the match. This setup is so incredibly sustainable that in one test I was able to stay alive through 5 consecutive General Skywalker recoveries after giving Echo and Arc inherited stats from 5s. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You need to be wearing your Sunday best on Han and Chewie, because there's a ticking time bomb you're racing against. If your Han's too weak to get through a protection stacked tank line, you face a nasty demise in the form of a Rex nuke. Let's talk about mods. Han runs a crit damage set paired with a health or defense set, ideally defense. His crit chance is high enough that there's no need to run a crit chance set here. Focus on high speed with the best offense you can bring. A protection primary circle is ideal, but I've been using a health primary for my testing, and I feel like good damage secondaries are a higher priority. There's one important speed topic that we need to talk about, and that's actually General Skywalker. We stun Rex to stop him from giving everyone turn meter, but it's essential that you make sure that your Han goes before General Skywalker does. General Skywalker gains 20% speed from Rex, but Han gets 50% extra turn meter from 5s taking an early turn, due to his Zeta. If you're facing a high-speed General Skywalker and a 5s with no Dominus Squad Zeta, this counter isn't nearly as safe to use. As long as Han gets out in front, he can keep chipping away at General Skywalker's turn meter to make sure that he never takes a turn. For Chewie, bring a full-fledged tenacity setup that brings extra speed, with protection or health primaries on the circle and triangle, preferably protection. A 6-dot tenacity cross and a blend of speed and tenacity secondaries will bring you everything you need. Aim to bring as much speed as possible, with 230 to 280 being the ideal range. His actual damage output on assists is very low, so it's better to try to focus on the utility. His assists are critical for keeping Bossk alive. Wat wants as much speed as you can give him, although there's a balancing act that we need to talk about. Guard goes to the character with the lowest combined health and protection, and Bossk gains 50% extra protection. This means that Vandor, Chewie, and Wat have to work harder to beat Bossk's combined stats, and we need to do this while keeping Wat as fast as possible. The sooner he goes, the sooner we get all 3 gear pieces out, and the smoother the fight will go. For your convenience, I've made a spreadsheet that lets you calculate who will get guard, as well as the fastest safe Skywalker target for your Han's speed. For Bossk, don't stress too much about speed, just focus on tank stats. Mine's currently at 197 speed, for example. If your Bossk is having a hard time getting guard, use a 5-dot health primary circle, and try to add defense primaries for your triangle and arrow. Avoid health and protection as much as you can in the secondaries in favor of defense until you're low enough. Always favor adding protection over adding health where you can. Make sure to use the calculator to sneak in as much protection on Bossk as possible. The secret sauce that proved to have a big impact was actually tenacity. The 50% tenacity given by Bossk lead means we don't need to add too much of a focus on it to get the full effect. One tenacity set with a 6-dot tenacity cross puts my Bossk over 160% tenacity, letting him avoid getting speed up from 5s and preventing double taps from occurring. Trust me, if 5s hits you twice with Ark's turret on him, you're gonna feel it, and it's not going to feel good. Vandor doesn't want much speed either. Instead, get him to around 200 speed and go crazy on stacking his health to the brim. If you have a mid to high relic Vandor, there's a concept that I'm testing that's still early, but has shown promise. If you can take enough speed off of him that Han goes first and kills 5s, his prepared special does enough damage that you can one-shot Rex from full HP. The damage is based on his health, so focus on 6-dot health with crit chance secondaries where possible and a crit damage triangle. It's not required, but it instantly diffuses the Rex nuke threat, which is incredible value. There's an RNG chance that Vandor gets targeted by Ark and won't get prepared at the start of the match, but it's rare enough that I believe this is absolutely worth trying to build around. For the most part, this counter plays pretty similarly across different runs. I stun Rex, then put Wat's weapon gear piece on Han. Han uses his nuke on General Skywalker and regains some protection before Skywalker counters. Using Han's shrug after a nuke gives Vandor an early buff for a powerful opener if Vandor gets prepared. Put Wat's taunt piece on Bossk, then use Han's next turn to basic General Skywalker, ideally toppling him. If not, Chewie will finish him off. Depending on enemy speeds, 5s may or may not taunt here. If he hasn't taunted yet, try to stun Rex with Bossk or Chewie special, although it can be risky to do with Chewie if you know that their Rex is easy to kill. I've been able to kill Rex twice through a 5 sacrifice, but it can make things a lot messier, and it's generally safe to kill 5s first. Kill him as quickly as you can, and try to kill Rex as a bonus before Skywalker stands back up. Vandor has been surprisingly capable of pulling this off, since Han's shrug usually gives him prepared for the double damage. If you can get 5s and Rex on the first go, there isn't much the AI can do to kill you. I don't use Bossk's taunt unless he's super low on protection, and it's important that you don't use it before 5s and Rex are dead. The extra turns that Frenzy creates helps General Skywalker stand back up way more quickly and can ruin your attack. His net special may feel weak, but it gives him a solid boost of protection regen that's worlds better than using his taunt. Once you've got the other 2 clones down, it's time to finish off Skywalker. Keep in mind that Skywalker is gaining stacking offense every time you create a buff. So if you take too long or try to draw out the match to top off people's protection, it can often end up in getting your boss killed instead. It's best to just finish your food. Moving on, Clash the Vandor Chewie Salesman put out his video on the similar concepts using Stormtrooper Han lead last night, and if you haven't checked it out yet, I strongly recommend you do. Link is in the description. Both of these teams got up and running at the same time, and they're nearly identical to each other as well, so there's a bit of value judgment to consider regarding which version is better to go for. And to be honest, there's not an easy answer here. The Bossk setup is more durable, with Bossk having 31 less base armor than Han, but getting almost 4 times the amount of armor increase from various effects. On the other hand, Han shares his armor increase with everybody on the squad, and offers a potential offense boost in dire situations. Bossk has a more frequent protection regen condition than Han does, but Han comes with extra turn meter gain or removal that can help accelerate your victory. Bossk lead grants him 50% protection and tenacity that makes him an extremely cheap and easy character to mod for. But if your Bossk has a big relic lead on your Watt and Vandor, it can be difficult to find mods bad enough to get him into guard. I typically sell defense primaries, so I'm currently having to try to find mods that contain both no speed, no health, and no protection, both on the primaries and secondaries, and those are mods that I don't normally keep. On the other hand, you get the added comedy of somebody scouting your Bossk and thinking you're an idiot. Stormtrooper Han is unarguably the better value to spend on the slot so that you can save Bossk for a bounty hunter team. But ultimately I think there's a long-term consideration that's worth mentioning. Bossk is a character who can shine on his own independently of needing a supporting character. He's still one of the premier characters for the bounty hunter faction, a solid unit, and pilots a ship that refuses to become irrelevant in the ship meta. Stormtrooper Han is a character that needs Watt to come with him to guarantee that he keeps taunting. His only taunt source is a special ability with a 4-turn cooldown. And every major faction in Galaxy of Heroes has a dispel source that can shut the taunt down quickly. It seems inevitable to me that Watt will get pulled to some other team for some other counter in the future, which leaves me wondering what role or value Stormtrooper Han will have. The choice boils down to this. Stormtrooper Han represents an incredible short-term investment that will give you a solid advantage in Grand Arena for the near future. His long-term prospects are unknown at best, and he's not a pilot. Bossk is a much safer long-term investment, but choosing to use Bossk for this team means that your bounty hunter team suffers a pretty big short-term blow. The final choice is up to you. There's one last question if you decide to use this team. What do we do with CLS if we decide to use this team? Well, that's easy. All we have to do is, Well, that about sums everything up. This ended up delaying the next video in the mod guide series, for which I apologize. Once I connected the dots on this team being a possibility, I got totally sucked in. I hope this is as exciting for you as it is for me. This counter is still young and in development, and it's almost a guarantee that I'll be able to find more ways to optimize this team's mods down the road. If you want to stay tuned or hear more theory crafting, head over to discord.io/theplaybook for more high-level Galaxy of Heroes discussion.